Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Brett Allen Smith here with ILTV's Morning Briefing. The Israeli government has just advanced construction plans for some 1,400 new Jewish homes to be built in the West Bank, and many of these sites will be added to augment existing settlement communities in the occupied territories, though a few others will be in more remote parts of the region. This approval has divided both sides of the debate surrounding Israel's policy of building homes in land that Palestinians and international law claim legally belongs to the Palestinians. Watchdog groups on the left have condemned the government for continuing to advance new settlement homes at all. For them, the expansion of these settlements is the most obvious death blow to any future Palestinian state and only continues to grow mistrust between the sides. Right-wing and religious communities on the right, however, have actually slammed Netanyahu for approving not nearly enough settlements this go-around. The Yeshua Council representing the settlers has accused the government of bowing to foreign pressure to curb the settlement growth, saying, quote, "This is the smallest number of units that the committee has advanced in the last year and a half. At past committee meetings, some 2,000 to 3,000 housing units were advanced." Indeed, word is that President Trump has personally urged Netanyahu to slow down the expansion of these communities in the West Bank. If true, this would most likely have to do with Trump's still unseen proposal for Israeli-Palestinian peace. But this approval of hundreds of new homes on contested territory has certainly reopened the debate about Israel's policy in general, a debate that doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon. Today, Prime Minister Netanyahu embarks on a historic trip to the Baltics, the first ever trip of its kind for a sitting Israeli Prime Minister. First, he visits Lithuania, followed by stops in Latvia and Estonia, in an effort to build new alliances in Eastern Europe. Netanyahu has increasingly prioritized building ties in Eastern Europe in an apparent effort to counterbalance criticism that Israel often gets from Western EU. Recently, this included meetings with leaders from Hungary, Poland, Slovakia, and the Czech Republic, but some have voiced concern with these new alliances, given the sometimes disturbing echoes of anti-Semitism from Eastern European leaders. Last month, a visit from Hungary's far right-wing nationalist leader Viktor Orbán ignited a storm of controversy. Critics pointed out that Netanyahu spent 2 days entertaining the man who merely a year ago openly praised former Hungarian leader Miklos Horthy, who collaborated with the Nazis during World War II and was often photographed smiling alongside Hitler. Regardless, Netanyahu's role as foreign minister clearly sees some strategic purpose in forging these new alliances. In perhaps related news, German Chancellor Angela Merkel will come to Israel in October amidst ongoing European efforts to save the JCPOA nuclear deal with Iran, a deal which Netanyahu has actively sought to destroy, of course. Merkel has been leading the charge alongside French President Macron to keep that deal afloat. Netanyahu's trip today to the Baltics is likely evidence that Israel is seeking new allies wherever it can. Bad news, West Nile virus has officially hit the Holy Land. Authorities have reported at least 68 confirmed cases of West Nile virus in Israel. We're only in August, and that's already double the number of cases from last year. West Nile is a particularly nasty viral infection normally spread by mosquitoes. While some patients don't feel any symptoms at all, others develop intense fevers, vomiting, or rashes, which carries a 1% chance of meningitis. Now, if that happens, West Nile can become very deadly. A meningitis infection involves serious inflammation of the spinal cord, which can lead to extreme stiffness in the neck or even epilepsy and deafness. Survival in those cases depends on how quickly it is treated and, of course, the strength of the patient's nervous and immune systems. West Nile season in Israel peaks between August and October, but teams have already identified the virus in mosquitoes all over Israel's coastal towns and cities, including Caesarea, Binyamina, Alona, and Pardes Hana. One patient is currently in severe care in Beersheba, suffering from organ failure. Now, if you're in areas where mosquito populations are high, authorities recommend insecticides. Mere days after standing her ground on performing in Israel, Lana Del Rey is once again bucking calls to boycott the Jewish state. Del Rey has just announced that in an effort to promote peace for both sides, she intends to play her concert next month in Israel as planned, and then extend her trip to visit the Palestinian Authority. The acclaimed singer was added to the roster of Israel's Meteor Festival earlier this week, a move which delighted her Israeli fans, but ignited supporters of the BDS movement who immediately called on her to cancel the show. Indeed, recently one such high-profile cancellation did take place when Lorde canceled her stopover in Tel Aviv just a few days after it was announced. But Del Rey has taken a decidedly different approach and mindset. The pop star says that she understands the delicate issue of playing in one country while not necessarily supporting its politics, which is why she'll be using her Holy Land trip to play music for both Israelis and Palestinians. Del Rey has previously equated this decision to playing in the US, saying, quote, "I would like to remind you that performing in Tel Aviv is is not a political statement or a commitment to the politics there, just as singing here in California doesn't mean my views are in alignment with my current government's opinions, or sometimes inhumane actions, or that I condone my own president who openly mocks disabled people at rallies. These are similar arguments Radiohead frontman Tom York made last summer in defense of Radiohead's decision to play in Tel Aviv. Indeed, if the power of art is to create dialogue through storytelling and culture, then perhaps it's only art that has a chance of overcoming all the messy politics. That's all for now. Follow us on Facebook at Israel English News and on Twitter at ILTV News. I'm Brett Allen Smith, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.